episode of the Freelancers Mindset Shortcast. We are way past the 15th episode. I mean, thank you so much for your support. We are on episode 18 right now, and I couldn't have done this without you guys. And the person we have with us today is Kavya Shankar. She is a transformational life coach who helps all of her mentees, become the best versions of themselves. I'm going to let Kavya talk about that and more about her organization, Breakthrough Transformations. And with that, hey Kavya, welcome to the call.
Hi, Meenakshi. I'm so happy to be here. And congratulations on 18 episodes. It's a big, big win.
Thank you so much. And let us start right there. One fun fact about Kavya, which is actually the main thing that drew me to her. She conceptualized and manifested her business at the age of 18. That is when she initially started this whole journey of hers. So please tell us about that, Kavya. What's it like being a young entrepreneur and what inner work did you do to, come to that space?
So to begin with, I remember I might have the math wrong, but I know it's somewhere between 18, 19, years of
Mhm.
age, where I was featured in the cover page of Indian Express as one of the bachelorettes who are doing something different with their life, right? Which is beyond academics. I
Hmm.
remember working for an international health club at that time. And I got a lot of flake because in that interview, they'd asked me, where do you see yourself few years from now? Bravely, boldly, I said, running my own health club. And I was already working for another organization at that point. And I think the bosses and all got very angry and pissed off. Instead of celebrating me
Hmm.
and applauding me, it took a very negative turn, right? And
Okay.
at that point, they were like, why would you say things for the heck sake of it? Things like that. I
Hmm.
said it out loud. And I think for my 21st to 22nd birthday, I think I had my health club up and running, right?
Hmm.
So for me, I believe it was always there. I
Hmm.
just had to say it out loud, and I think it was always in the pipeline for me. And
Right.
through all that I desired and all the work that I did, I think the universe just decided to grant me that, and send me that manifestation.
Right.
So, for whatever reasons, keeping technical parts aside, and I just think I so badly wanted to make a difference to my own life and the life of other people
Hmm.
that, and I did not want to work for somebody, knowing how cruel the industry was. And I
Hmm.
wanted to do things in my own way, and I wanted to have the authority of, calling the
Hmm.
shots myself. I
For
guess I
sure.
had it. Yeah.
For sure. And I remember during our initial few calls, you used the word inner work a lot. Like it's so important to do your inner work. Else people tend to take things personally or they can't sustain their life properly. So could you please
Yes.
define what this inner work is? And initially, how did you do it personally and how has that helped you grow?
So inner work could be anything that is going to take you inward. So we're all living in our outer reality, most of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So very few people can tap into their inner self, go down that inner inquiry path of understanding, discovering themselves,
Hmm.
constantly learning and growing. So, in fact, you did ask me this question as to what inner work did you do to manifest that. I
Yeah.
don't think I did any inner work then. You know,
Hmm.
the whole realization of inner work happened to me as soon as I stepped into the shoes of an entrepreneur because I realized that I cannot go with a one straight run of the mill kind of mindset. Inner
Mm-hmm.
work for everybody is different. In short, it is you heal where you need to heal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you work on your limiting beliefs. You change
Mm-hmm.
your patterns of thought. You change your thinking process. You change the way you behave, which means you're bringing in a lot of alignment into the way you basically operate within your head,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the way you show up in life, the actions you take, the decisions you make or you make. So inner work could be, a lot of people look at inner work as, okay, I'm journaling, I'm meditating. These are all
Yeah.
associated with inner work, but inner work is your own willingness to work on yourself, not just on the outside, but on your inner environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Journaling is a tool. Meditation is a path to make that inner
Okay.
work more stronger and more powerful to help you stay aligned to your highest purpose,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So that's inner work. And for me, personally speaking, what kind of inner work did I do? I think for me, it started with life itself teaching me that I was not meant to live like that.
Okay.
Um, I've always been very spiritual, even when I didn't know the word spiritual, I've always been spiritual, right?
Right.
So young age, I used to use tools like journaling,
Hmm.
meditation. All of this supported the path. I think the biggest inner work happened to me when something very turbulent happened. I underwent domestic violence, intimate partner violence,
Hmm.
which broke me. It broke physically, spiritually, and beyond, right? Emotionally. I think that is where my inner work, all the years of whatever I had done, it strengthened my journey to a whole new level. It opened up pathways and channels where I said, there is so much more work to do, you know?
Hmm.
So that is where, for me, practicing everything that led me to the space of acceptance, deeper acceptance within me, wherever forgiveness was needed, that was due. And putting your ego aside and, constantly looking around, drawing in from the world, and knowing
Hmm.
when to ask for help. All of this opened up a lot more. I was already on that path. That is where, for me, inner work was simply defined for me. I could simply define it as the work that you do to cleanse, the work that you do to grow your inner self, because the inner
Hmm.
self is so often neglected, right? A simple example could be, if I had to cancel on you today by saying I'm not feeling like it, probably you would understand, you know.
Hmm.
Someone else in your place would be like, okay, she's probably making up a reason. But if I had said,
Hmm.
listen, I'm running a fever or I have big cough and cold, people are most likely to believe you or
Empathize.
empathize with you or even sympathize with you, versus when you tell somebody that you don't feel the vibe or you don't feel like it or you're not feeling like, intuitively you feel like you should not make this, right? As entrepreneurs, also because I've coached a lot of them, when their inner work has not been done, when they've just been living in, okay, goals, society, this is at this age, I need to do this much money I make, all of that is essential. It's a lot more to do with what's going on in your inner world. Have you taken a moment to pause and reflect back? Half the people
Hmm.
realize that who they used to be when they started out as an entrepreneur, they
Hmm.
are not the same anymore. Their values have evolved,
Definitely.
right?
Same here.
Their Right? I've also felt that, but the crux remains the same. I've always known what I wanted to do and I've pursued it.
Hmm.
So I feel the role of inner work is simple, yeah. If I don't feel the way I want to feel from within, my journey will just keep becoming harder and harder.
Hmm.
External obstacles are all right, you know,
Hmm.
but what is under my control is my emotions. What is under my
Yeah.
control is the way I think, is the way I respond to the world, and the way I receive things from the world.
Last year I was trying to get into this whole meditation journaling sort of thing. So the problem that happened for me is I am a very creative person. I am into digital marketing, social media and all of that. And at one point I felt very mentally suffocated. I needed a break. So I saw this 10-minute guided meditation thing on YouTube and I started doing that.
Yeah.
And I just did it for 10 minutes. I felt very calm. My mind totally cleared. And I was like, okay, let's go work now with a clear head. I'm just sitting. I open the Excel sheet. I am blank. I can't think of anything. So at that point, I felt being a creative person, I think meditation is just not for me. Like, how do you find a strategy that works for you? Because after that I stopped meditation, I stopped journaling. I was like, maybe this is just not for me. Creative people just don't do this. So like, how do you find what works for you?
So, in short, let me tell you, even before we look at meditating, you have to allow yourself to become meditative.
Okay.
So, meditation as a tool, as a way of life becomes easier for you if you are a meditative person, which means
Hmm.
while you're talking to me, you're only talking to me. You're not framing the next question. You're mindful,
Okay.
you're meditative. You're doing one thing at a time. Your entire senses, everything's only involved in one aspect. You're
Hmm.
neither going into the past nor rushing into the future. You're fully present, right?
Hmm.
That is a meditative state in itself. So,
Okay.
in our everyday life, if we become a lot more meditative, meditation, when you sit down and try to practice it, it becomes easy. And to be honest, yes, not everybody is open to meditation, even though we all have that um, within us. We are naturally
Hmm.
meditative, but we probably have not practiced it or we have not been able to pull that out within us, right?
Hmm.
Because even a child, sitting next to a child is so meditative, playing with dogs or animals. That's why
Hmm.
nature and silence, they
Yeah.
all get you into that meditative zone. You don't have to meditate, you become part of, it's like a union of
Hmm.
sorts, right?
Hmm.
So, my suggestion would be simple. if you're somebody, if you feel that your nervous system's not super relaxed, you have a lot of unused energy as a creative person,
Yes.
try moving meditation.
Okay.
Start with, there are different forms of meditation. Try moving meditation to begin with. And in your lifestyle, make some small tweaks where you're embracing silence, perhaps a slow life, in your own way, of course. And do it consistently for a few days, and then try approaching meditation through a new lens. And
Mm.
initially, don't go with generic meditations out there. Try and see if any of the traditional ones work for you. There are a lot of traditional meditations out there.
Mm.
So try some of it. I could probably send you some links.
Oh, for sure.
And and eventually I think you will know exactly what works for you. But end of the day,
Hmm.
even guided meditation is not a meditation, because a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but the deepest form of meditation is you sitting with yourself in that
Hmm.
silence, in the present moment, your body supporting you, your inner self supporting you. But yes, of course, there are guided meditations for the modern day man, which will really help and support us. After the meditation, immediately jumping into something, you may go blank for one reason, because you're not used to it.
Hmm.
It's like this, no? There's so much light suddenly in my room that I'm not used to it. Even though light is
Hmm.
good, I'm closing my eyes. Similarly,
Disoriented.
not had that state of blank calmness. So
Huh.
you finished the meditation, you jumped into something energizing, and you were not able to switch over.
So, right now, we have kind of delved into the personal side of this. Looking at this from a professional lens, on one side, how do you think this would help a person professionally grow? And on the other side, if somebody didn't take time to do this inner work, how would it impact them like negatively? Both the lenses, what do you feel?
So I think it differs from person to person, individual to individual. Majority of eight out of 10 people don't understand inner work, because even though it's a fancy term in English, but our rituals, our culture, let it be any religion rooted in India, I think there is inner work which is part and parcel of our rituals, our daily routines, our culture. If done, practiced properly, we don't need to actually do anything external, because if you go back into olden days, they did not have a therapist per se, they didn't have a
Hmm.
coach. There used to be a guru, who'd
Hmm.
support you, who'd teach you, spiritually engage with you, and etc etc, right? As times have progressed, of course, our sufferings have also gone to a whole new level, and we have found modern day measures. There's nothing wrong in that. I am part of this industry, so I'm very much for it.
Right.
It's just that if someone has not been introduced to inner work, it's like living in the dark. You are going into the world thinking everything's fine with you. If
Hmm.
something turbulent happens with you someday, you're either going to blame the rest of the world for it, or you're going to blame yourself for it, because you don't even know where to take the ownership for what. Where to let go and not blame yourself. It could be simple as this. It could be simple as you go out, you buy apples as an entrepreneur, you want to sell apples and make money out of it. Um, you buy apples and you realize that, oh, nobody buys it, and your mind tells you, hey, you know what, I'm useless, I'm a loser, nobody's purchasing it.
Hmm.
Maybe that work could allow you to look at life very differently. But look at the best entrepreneurs of our society. The minute I wake up in the morning, I have street vendors selling. Do they do inner work? I don't think they do inner work. But has
Right.
life taught them lessons that they use as inner work? I'm sure they do, So we don't have to make it as fancy as it seems, right? Inner work is simply being in touch with my authentic self
Hmm.
and doing the work that is required. Wherever, if I'm someone who has a lot of anger and ego, if it is blocking me and standing in the way, I need to be able to work on it somehow. You don't always have to run to a professional. You can figure out a way to manage it yourself, So in
Hmm.
entrepreneurship, at least, people who are not purely businessmen, but entrepreneurs who actually want to make a difference, who want to create that legacy, which is not just revolving around numbers and money, but that impact we are talking about. I think inner work is going to help them manage their mind, organize their mind better, you know.
Hmm.
And when your mind is organized, half of the what you say, what you claim, what impact it has on you, your personal life, your professional life, everything seems to be very much different because you know how to organize your day. You don't need to go around finding five techniques to manage your entire day. You know, the way
Hmm.
you organize your mind, organize your life, everything falls into place because you're not stuck in the past.
So, could you give me some examples where I have just said you're a transformational life coach? So, could you explain more about what you do? Because people immediately turn to executive coaching or like personal development coach. They immediately go to different extremes. They try to box it up. But I think what you actually do is totally different compared to all that. So, could you explain what you do and maybe give some examples of how you helped your clients do their inner work and where that has led them to now?
Sure. So when I call myself a transformational or transformative life coach, I'm coming from a space of everything that the energy that I exchange with my clients is very transformative in nature. Yes, the coaching industry is a billion-dollar industry, and there are different forms of coaching. There's executive coaching, there's personal development, there's financial business coaching, and so on. What I have done is I've amalgamated. I have the roots in fitness. I have the roots in yoga. I come from a family where a lot of the Indian tradition, including from Vedas to everything, I've seen grown up seeing my grandfather, my mother being into all of this. Even though the initial couple of years of my life, I absolutely hated and ignored all of that,
Okay.
I have realized that the influence on me is very heavy, which means for me, my work comes from an amalgamation of a lot of ancient wisdom that I have picked on intuitively, you know, and intuition is one of my biggest strengths. And a combination of a lot of progressive modern day coaching methods. So, what happens in a typical coaching session does not happen with me because my coaching is very intuitive. It's very disruptive, which means we break a lot of rules, but not the kind of rules that will offend the client or make the client, want to run away. We're looking at it from a lens of holistically, do you feel well? This is about wellness and well being. Is your emotional, mental, physical self disconnected or is it connected? Right.
Hmm.
So, this is
Hmm.
where I support my client in understanding how could a good ritual, your morning ritual, daily ritual, how can it impact and have a ripple effect on your
Hmm.
financial well-being, or let it be spiritual, sexual well-being, or whatever that is they are seeking out to achieve, right?
Okay.
uh, when it comes to relationships, I have dealt with people who have had a lot of breakups, bad divorces, or single people out there who are just wondering what's going on. Is it them? Is it their confidence? Is it the way they look? You know, body image issues. So many things are out there where I believe the coaching has supported a lot. To talk with the brands, it's always been engagements such as a workshop or a
Hmm.
retreat, right?
Hmm.
Um, it's been one off, but it's been with a whole new bunch of strangers who you don't know. You walk in and there's this corporate culture where half of them don't participate. Their HRs have pushed them into it. And then you, because they're so burnt out in what they do already, it's evident. And then you will have to be super innovative to get them to participate. And I think the biggest win is when you watch them participate and you watch the ones who walked away initially. When you walk into the room, come back and participate and
Right.
basically take something from there. So there is no individual attention, even though they are very happy about what has come through. I
Mhm.
think personal coaching is one of my favorites. So I
Okay.
have deeply, passionately enjoyed working with all the individuals from all walks of life, from celebrities to people who are industrialists to authors to homemakers and
Hmm.
doctors and more.
So before we move on to the next question, since you have said you really like one-on-one coaching the most, let's have a small demo coaching session, like a fun activity. Like,
Why
what if
not?
what if I gave you an imaginary scenario now and you just coach me for the next 5 minutes? Let's see where it takes off from there.
Let's do it. Let's do
Done.
it.
So,
Okay.
hey Kavya, so I am somebody who is very shy and I work in a team where there are 6 or 7 men and I'm the only woman there and I constantly get interrupted. When I give some opinion, people don't listen to me, they probably talk over me. And then when somebody else gives the exact same comment, he gets appreciated and he gets up like, recognized for it. So how do I overcome this? Is something wrong with me? Am I not bold enough or using my voice? Or maybe this team itself I'm working at is not for me. Should I go to a woman dominated team? I don't know where I'm going wrong.
Okay. Okay. So, what is the outcome you want out of this coaching conversation? One outcome. You can't have multiple outcomes in 5 minutes.
Hmm.
What could be that one outcome?
Any one actionable tip I can take right now? Like, I am somebody who has been feeling stuck in this for a long time. From this conversation, I want one actionable step that I can immediately implement the next time this happens.
Fair enough. So, what is that you want to draw an action from? Do you want to understand why this is happening to you, or do you want to know if this is not for you? Let's clarify that.
I would like to know why it's happening to me. Is something wrong with me and the way I put out my opinions, or is it more on the receiver's side? Whose fault is it?
Fair enough. So, your opening statement was, I am that one woman in a seven men team, right? A part of you somewhere has already believed that your voice is not heard or you don't feel seen and heard by that team,
Mm-hmm.
probably because you're woman. Do you believe that to a large
Yes, I
extent?
do. Mm-hmm.
What makes you sure that this could be a gender thing? What if it's not, and what if it's got something to do with something that's beyond gender, perhaps? Maybe your personality, maybe the fact that maybe there is no bonding, and that probably there is not enough connection between you and all the seven people. Imagine that you walked in that day and you looked at those seven men and said, amazing, I get to talk and understand the opposite gender so much more. Looks like I'll be the princess of the team. Imagine if you walked in with that energy, thinking, guess what? Or I will have all their attention towards me in the nicest ways possible, right? In whichever way you want it. And I would get to learn so much from all of them, and they get to learn so much from me. It's an
Mm-hmm.
advantage that I am the only woman, A. It's also an advantage that there's so many men, and I can have different dynamics with each one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine for a moment, hypothetically, if you had walked in with that energy, do you believe somewhere you would have projected this energy outwards towards them, and perhaps that could have also helped them respond differently to your energy?
Yeah, now that you mention it, I never saw it as an advantage.
One of the biggest ways is to walk in with that thought process and energy and look at things than how we are conditioned to look at, or not drawing from our previous experiences.
Hmm.
One, that itself soothes the ground. It evens the tone. You're
Hmm.
not there as a woman, you're there as a professional. A, right?
For sure.
Second, when you start talking, behaving like the way you are, people will learn to adapt because you're setting the tone to say, this is who I am as Meenakshi as a professional, not Meenakshi the woman. Yeah,
Hmm.
I am a woman. There are moments where I will put my woman, point of view too. But does it
Hmm.
always matter? I think what matters is your brain is still a brain.
Yeah.
Your thoughts are still thoughts, right?
Hmm.
Probably that could also help you bond a lot more with these people, right? Irrespective of who they are, how they receive. And
Hmm.
then you might actually come to a conclusion saying, no, I tried all of this. It's
Hmm.
somehow not working for me because looks like no matter who I am, that's who they are. So what I'll do is make peace with it.
Hmm.
Ideally, this is more of a mentoring style that I'm using today
Hmm.
because we had very little time. In a coaching session, we have to spend at least 40 minutes understanding why you feel that way, what are your
Okay.
limiting beliefs, and what could have led you to immediately assume. Because assumptions is what
Hmm.
we human beings, best of
In
us
the
assume
example I
things,
gave,
right?
that is what happened, I guess.
Correct.
Because I never
Correct. So to
tried. That person I brought in never tried. They just came, they assumed, they are like, oh God, okay, fine.
right, exactly. So,
Makes
so
sense.
this is more of a mentoring style that I used on you because there's very little time and I wanted to demonstrate something. In a coaching session, I would not tell you what to do at all. I would
Hmm.
just let you figure it out, but I will keep asking you the right powerful questions. I'll hold space for you. I will direct
Hmm.
you in the right way, which will help you find the closure that you're looking for or the
Hmm.
kind of conclusion you want to do, right?
Got
But
it.
end of the day, I think one thing I do want to add here is the energy we carry within,
Hmm.
right? We project it on to the rest of the world. The way I see myself is how I'll see the rest of you all.
For
So
sure.
as the way I see myself keeps evolving, there is
Hmm.
scope for me to look at everybody and not put a tag on everybody. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that session. More than anybody else, I think I have personally gotten impacted through this. So thank you for taking the time out for that. Now,
Thank
moving
you.
on to different topics, what would you say were some challenges that you faced? I mean, you started at 18 and you're saying you have had this going on for almost 2 decades, 17 years. So, what are some challenges
Actually started
at
I actually
14?
unofficially started when I was 14. Yes. I
Okay.
started working very early in my life. Okay.
Hmm.
I never thought this is going to be so unofficially, I actually started when I was 14. I was very young when I got my first fitness certification, super young. I think I was
Okay.
below 20 when I got all of that. And
Okay.
then I moved on into coaching certifications and all of that eventually, right? So I started very early. So I got to
Hmm.
see, and back then it was never a woman's world. I don't think even now it is, but
Hmm.
at least now there are so many people, I think, including myself, that we have actually paved path for so many other people to be standing there and enjoying the privileges, right?
Hmm.
So, frankly, I think starting early to me was because of hundred many reasons. I wanted to support my family. That's all. I never
Hmm.
really knew it's going to become a profession. I never really knew that I'll love it so much and I'll actually build a mastery in this.
Right.
So, what was your question?
What challenges did you face and how did you bounce back from that?
So, challenges, one of the biggest challenges I actually faced was that I was very young, you know.
Hmm.
So, I was never taken seriously. And then you go out into the world, they see this 5 feet little thing, and they're like, what are you doing here? We are
Yeah.
all grown up adults. What are you doing in our world?
Hmm.
And then comes your girl that is there. You know,
Hmm.
you're a girl, which has been told multiple times, you cannot make it in this industry. Next
Hmm.
comes a challenge. You don't look the part. You don't have six-pack abs.
Hmm.
You're healthy, you're fit, but you don't look the part. You know,
Hmm.
okay, you overcome that by us. And realize that it's a very expensive profession to have. You need to take
Yeah.
care of yourself.
Yeah.
You need to constantly learn, upgrade yourself. You can't just hide behind something. You have
Hmm.
to be your whole self. You know, no
Hmm.
matter if I've walked out of a funeral, if I'm with a client, I should be
Hmm.
able to let go of that energy and come into my client's energy. So because I can't give them my low vibrating energy. I
Hmm.
need to be 100% different because so that they latch on to my energy in a session, right?
Hmm.
So, also the biggest challenges has been learning financial management. It
Hmm.
never came easy to me. I don't think it came easy because it was a big taboo. Oh, money is usually managed by men, you know.
Hmm.
So always looking out to male counterparts or hiring colleagues or managers, letting them manage. You know, my cards used to be with my employees for most of the
Hmm.
time
Hmm.
because a big part of me believed that I was not financially literate. There's always comparison. There's always comparison. There's a lot of shaming when someone's trying to do
Hmm.
something big. Even though now trolling and shaming is much prevalent, I feel it was again like this fake scenario you gave me some time back. I was one of the youngest and the very few women out there in the industry growing up. And
Hmm.
slowly later on, I saw so many other women, jump into it. So
Okay.
it definitely created a lot of
Hmm.
concerns because you're constantly challenged because of your gender, A. You're constantly made to feel that you're not good enough, no matter what you do. And these challenges have definitely been there, but one of the biggest ones have been to manage your own inner demons. People still ask
Hmm.
you free. Till date, every single day, I have at least 5 people messaging me asking me for free because they say, why should I pay you to just talk to you?
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
get the value of
Yeah.
a professional conversation and where it can take you, allow you to think differently, take action differently, and things
Hmm.
like that.
Thank you to everybody who's been watching, and I am sure that the next time you choose to be an entrepreneur or pursue and take your business to the next level, you will first take a moment, like take a step back and self-reflect on yourself. What are you doing? What is your intention behind it? And just do a quick check, like, is this the path I want to go down on? Because I know I'm going to do that for sure. So thank you to everybody for watching. I will leave all of Coach Kavya's links in the description so that you can get in touch with her for any other business inquiries or anything you have. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next episode.